Hey nerds, and welcome to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Theories and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. So I'm covering 2 episodes this week because it's been a while since I did one of these. Just the holidays kind of got me off track, screwed everything up. But I'm here to talk about episodes 5 and 6. Both were really great episodes, really moved the plot along. We finally got that episode of what happened to Fitz in episode 5, Rewind. So we're going to start there. This was just a great episode. Really fun to see that Fitz-centric episode that mirrored the Gemma one, and it answered a lot of questions. It was great. But the important stuff from the episode. First, we learn who the alien is. He goes by the name Enoch, and he says he's from the planet of Chronocom. He's a Chronocon. That's not actually in the comics that I can find. Let me know if I'm wrong, but he seems more in line with a Rigelian recorder. Now these are characters that have been in Marvel since the Jack Kirby days, making their first appearance in Thor comics. And basically they are what you see, the kind of this anthropologist, like think a mini Watcher, just to kind of record and document everything that they see and everything that goes on. So that's kind of what I think he's based off of. Even the little bit we see of him out of the skin where he's just kind of blue, it just feels reminiscent of what the character at times looked like in the comic. It's the way the character has changed over comics is pretty common, but there's at a certain point there you can see a bit of a kind of a reminiscent appearance there. So that's who Enoch was, and he's great in episode 6, but we'll get to that as well. So the team, we do learn, is grabbed because of a prophecy, and this is a prophecy from the child of Robin, and this is a throwback to her father, who we met previously, who saw the future, but only people's deaths. Basically, I think it was just their deaths. But so this child is the one that created the prophecy, and that's why Enoch was allowed to intervene, because it was prophecy. It's not just him trying to make an outcome. It seems like a bit of nitpicking there, like blurring the lines of when they want to and when they don't. But that being said, Fitz was feeling left out until he finds out he's got his own prophecy, and he's actually the hero. So that was very cool. But again, everything Fitz did in this episode was great, especially his teaming up with Hunter. When they finally meet, the way he tracks him down by writing letters to the soccer magazines, and then they show up, and then they have to break back in. Everything about Hunter was great. He does kind of throw away his friend's life pretty easily. His friend, who I assume dies in the plane crash. We don't actually know. But Hunter's great. We learned that him and Bobby have been working together a lot of the time, not 100% of the time, because they're great together even when they're apart, or however he phrased that. But Hunter and Bobby presumably are going to be taking care of Robin, and they are in possession of the Zephyr now, which is great. Now, the Zephyr, I do believe, will return to Coulson and the team once they get back to the past. But that's not here or there, but it's great that the Zephyr is back in the hands of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, one mystery that does come up this episode that I think is going to be related to whatever the next pod is the head of that military base who assassinates her 2 underlings. Who is she, and who does she work for? Because I think that's going to be a big deal, because these guys just failing to find Fitz shouldn't have resulted in their death, so she's clearly working for another kind of secret organization of some sort. It's most likely that her boss or her organization is going to somehow be responsible for what happened to the destruction of the Earth. That's my take there. So, but that was episode 5. Again, great episode. Episode 6, Fun and Games. This is where we picked up with Fitz when we saw him remove the mask and ask for that fight to the death with Quake. Such a good episode. It was a lot of fun. Seeing Fitz act as Boschtok, the space marauder, was really great. It's always fun to see characters play that kind of role that's opposite of their nature. Fitz has done a great job kind of stepping up into the kind of action man role ever since, wow, was that season 3 where Gemma was on the other planet and he was trying to get her back? But he's done a great job, and so seeing him in that role was fun. But things about this episode. We meet a new Inhuman, Flint, so I'll get to him in a minute, but Tess was killed. She was killed by the Inhumans, or not the Kree, because she was protecting Flint. Now, this that whole sequence of them protecting him and hiding him with Yo-Yo was great, because it showed that Yo-Yo really did have a good sense of not just how her powers work, but how to use them strategically. And so that was, I liked seeing that she was just in touch. She had a plan more than just on a whim, I'm going to go, whisk him off. So that was great. I liked that. But Flint, who is he? Well, he is from the comics. He comes from Inhuman number 3. This is from 2014. This takes place after Black Bolt detonated the Terrigen bomb. So in a very similar circumstance to what was going on Earth, where you had massive Terrigenesis all over the planet. Flint was one of the humans who went through Terrigenesis that wasn't planned. And his real name is Jason, and his abilities, as you saw, he controls rocks, but it's geokinesis, and he can use it to move rocks around. He can use it to create armor. He can actually use it to fly. He basically levitates rocks, and then he can hop on them and move how he wants. In the comics, when he's using his power, there's electricity that's seen connecting him to the rocks. It's also said in the comics, and I couldn't find the issue where this happens, but he's strong enough to move mountains and allegedly Pluto. So I gotta try and track that down. If I do, I'll put it in the comments what issue that happens in, so you guys can all check that out. But so he's a very cool character. Now, the thing with him is I'm expecting him to actually return to the past with the team. They wouldn't introduce a new Inhuman like this, and then have him just be stranded in a future that hopefully they're going to erase, depending on how you think time travel works. But when they go back in time, I'm expecting Flint to travel with them, and that he's going to be the key to saving the Earth from being destroyed. And that's kind of the core of why the team was sent to the future to begin with, was to find Flint. And I think that's going to be really important. Now, how do they get back? Because that's also in question here. The obvious answer is the white obelisk. May was sent to the surface because Fitz convinced Casillas to end that fight, and that's where Enoch's going, most likely. Now, my bet is that the people on the planet are going to help the team find the white obelisk, and they're going to use that to go back in time to prevent the destruction of the planet. So that's the direction I think this is going, and how it's ultimately going to end up back in the normal timeline. So that's where I think this is going. Now, the one question I have, and I honestly don't have an answer for this, but what was the point of the framework this season, except for maybe giving us a little place to get exposition? I don't know why we had it, or why they felt it was necessary to include it. Do you think there's still more to come from that? Or was it just a kind of an Easter egg, essentially, an Easter egg to what happened not one episode ago, 2 episodes ago, and in the previous season? What do you guys think? Was it just thrown in there? I honestly don't know what their plans are for it, and at this point it seems kind of silly that they even brought it in whatsoever. So let me know what you guys think. Again, 2 fantastic episodes, and I'm really looking forward to this next week's episode. So let me know what you guys thought in the comments below, and don't forget to check out my other stuff. You can find it all on goodnerdbadnerd.com, and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Just search Good Nerd Bad Nerd. So until next time, I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. This has been Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Theories and Conspiracies.